Jason Ricci here, and welcome back to Free Friday. Subscribe today for hundreds and hundreds of free harmonica lessons and talks, right? Today we're going to talk. I'm emotional. A friend of mine is close to dying. And I'm out here in Park City, Utah. The altitude is very high. It's difficult to breathe. And I've been thinking about what it is what is the reason, right, that we do this, right? Why do we do this? Why do we play harmonica? Why do we do anything? I'm out here with a fella named Anders Osborne. If you don't know who Anders is, please check him out. He's a beautiful cat, a beautiful songwriter, and a very deep thinker. And he talks about some things that I've thought about before too, but sometimes he really reminds me of the most important things in life and gets me asking questions. And when I say that he's a deep cat, I mean that what's the first way to get deep, right? We ask why. Why are we doing this? What is our motive? Now, if I talk about anything in this today that seems weird or whatever, I'm questioning my own stuff constantly, right? As a matter of fact, in this video, I will prove that a lot of what I do is for the wrong reasons, right? So let's talk about it, right? So what is it that I want out of learning harmonica? What is it? So is it to play in front of my family and my friends? Is it to get up on a stage? Maybe my ambitions are even higher. Maybe I would like to make some money at this, or get some free harmonicas, or play on at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame or somewhere like that. Maybe that's what it is. Now, I want to say there's nothing wrong with having those kinds of motives. I've had them my whole life. I remember, I'm 50 now, I remember in my 20s, sitting around and putting in, 6, 7, 8 hours a day of practice and constantly thinking, well, nobody else in the world is probably practicing this hard, so I'm going to be the best, right? What does that even mean, right? And today I watched a TED Talk with, or a little section of a TED Talk with Rodney Mullen. And he was talking about this book he was reading, and the guy said that I'm going to paraphrase terribly, but the Pulitzer Prize was the death of every great bit of research or whatever, right? Well, or that he felt like that Rodney had won 30 out of or 29 out of 30 contests, and that he didn't feel like he was even doing it anymore for that. Like he was just defending his title, right? So like I might be getting too deep right now for you, but I want you to listen. I want you to listen for just a minute, okay? If you go to my video called Focused Deliberate Practice, okay? That video isn't really about practice. It's about a way of life. That's what music can be for us, is a way of life. It has nothing to do with the accolades that can come with it, or even the self-fulfilling. I wanted to do this and I did that. Feelings of accomplishment. Okay, we set out to do it every day, whether we like it or not, because that's what we do now. Now, like, there are guys, let me tell you this, okay, so I went to college for wildlife management. I thought that I wanted to be, when I was young, I thought that I wanted to go into endangered, or captive breeding for endangered species. That's what I thought I wanted to do. And I got into college, and I got into the biology and the chemistry and the botany, and I didn't even really get into it. I just saw those courses, and I remembered some of it from high school and remembered how hard it was. And I thought to myself, I'm not smart enough to do this. Okay, so that wasn't true. That wasn't true. What was true was that I didn't want that very badly, right? That's not what I wanted to do every day for the rest of my life. I think I liked the idea of working with animals and going and the end result, right? I had this vision of what the end result would be of me riding around on a horse in the national forest and smoking pot and growing pot and then going in and dealing with black-footed ferrets and wrangling them and getting to feed them with gloves. You know what I mean? I didn't want all of the things that led in between that. And here I was at the same time simultaneously playing harmonica. And I was getting these little gigs, right? I was like 19 years old, I was getting these little gigs in Boise, Idaho for $50, for $40, $20, $10, $100, right? And I was practicing like my life depended on it. And like I'd be going to my job at the Gopher Mart or at a dry cleaners and I'd be listening to the radio and I'd be thinking, I can't wait to get out of here and practice. I can't wait to play. And it was hard work. What I was learning on harmonica wasn't easy for me at that time. There was no YouTube, there was no teachers, there wasn't anything. But my motive was a little pure at that time. It was pure. I just loved it. I just loved it. I just loved it. Now, check it out. That changed a little bit. I started getting good and started playing these gigs, and then I thought, well, maybe I'll quit college. Maybe I'll do this for a living, right? Can I do this for a living? So I started practicing more and more, and I took a job, like I told you about the job at the Gopher Mart. I had the night shift, and I would work from 12 until 8 in the morning and just practice the whole night when anyone wasn't in the store. Didn't do a good job cleaning, didn't do a good job putting out the hot dogs, restocking the beverages, didn't do a good job. Just went in there and did the bare minimum to get paid, and then and practice harmonica and listen to Carrie Bell and Little Walter and all those guys all night. And then I'd get home at 8 in the morning, and sometimes I'd practice for 12 hours and then sleep for another couple hours and then go back in and do it all over again. Sometimes 14, 15, 16 hours of playing in a day. Now, during that time period, right, that where it was just pure, I can't wait to practice and stuff, there started to come some thoughts in my mind. What if I could make a living at this? What if I could be the best? Who else is practicing this much right now? I'm starting to sound good, right? These ideas, these goals that I thought that I was achieving, and then the thought of what's the next goal. Now, none of those goals were very musical, but the purpose of that was so that I could do this all the time, right? I got to get good enough so that people will pay me, so that if they pay me, then I can do this all the time. I don't have to go to the Gopher Mart, right? So it's very easy to get lost and to lose our motives. And let me tell you, I've been out here on the road for months now, since January. And there's been maybe a week home here or 2 or 3 days here. And the rest of the time, just look back at the videos. Look at how many of them are shot on a phone and not at home. And when you're out there, Sometimes you're not practicing. Sometimes you're not thinking, you're not practicing the things that make you feel better as a human being, right? We're, not just music, right? We're losing sight of what it is that is the reason for being here, for the reason for doing this. All of these videos I have about scales and arpeggios, people are like, oh, I don't want to follow directions, or I just want to do my own thing. Fine, do that. Do your own thing, okay? But what we have in these directions, okay, is a way to tune out the garbage. The am I good, am I bad, okay, any of that. And just to plug into something, into one of these arpeggios, into one of these scale exercises, and play for the sake of playing, right? And that doesn't mean that we can't later have fun for ourselves and have fun for the sake of playing, but sometimes, like I say, we don't always feel it. I've quoted Richard Pryor before in many of these videos when he said that when he was asked what was the hardest thing about being a stand-up comedian, and I'm going to cuss here, he said, well, sometimes I don't always feel fucking funny, right? So we have to practice our art every day, right? Or as much as we possibly can. That's why I tell you guys 5 minutes. Start for 5 minutes. The very motive of this video, I started off thinking, well, I have a free Friday due. What is it that I can teach these guys? And then so I started playing, because oftentimes when I want to come up with a subject, all I got to do is start playing. And then the next thing you know, I got an idea about what to teach you guys. So I started playing, and I realized in that moment that I was playing that I wasn't playing this harmonica for me. I was playing to come up with an idea. And I thought, well, if I play it long enough, maybe I'll come up with an idea, right? Or I even thought, if I start playing for me and enjoying it, then maybe then I'll come up with an idea. Then I can stop playing for me and teach it to you. So that Patreon gets a video, because I promise Patreon free Friday every Friday, and you guys get it no matter what, right? Or that I get the $30 from the ads that are on this video from the lifetime of this video. No. I made a commitment to teach, right? I'm going to do that. And in doing that, I've looked and exposed some of the flaws in my motives. So ask yourself, am I playing for me? And ask yourself, what does that look like? What is it that you want out of this? Do you just want to pick it up and... right, and just play a little blues? And if so, that's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Not everybody wants to be a pro, and God bless you for not wanting to be a pro. If that's you, and you're just here because you just truly love the harmonica, then you're my favorite person. You're my hero. I need what you have. You don't need any of this. But maybe you do, because, see, we evolve and we change. And when we get that little satisfaction, well, then the question goes, oh, well, what's next? What am I going to get next? Right? I was recently nominated for this other award, the Blues Blast Award. You can still go and vote for me, right? And I put up a post and I asked people to vote for me. And a couple people got mad at me. And they're like, you don't need to do this, Jay, and blah, 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 right? And I want to tell you, you're sort of right. You're sort of right. Now, why do I do it? I do it because it helps. It helps my career. It helps to get those awards, and it helps to put food on my table. It may be ever so subtle, but it helps. And I'm not rich, right? Despite what Google thinks, okay? We barely making it, right? And any money that we have, we're just blessed to have, okay? And it's tough to keep. It's tough. And if I stop working for a little while, it's only a matter of time. I got no health insurance, right? So my motive sometimes is survival. This is what this thing means to me, is survival. And sometimes I'm competitive, right? That's normal. I like when there's a little competition. It drives me. I was listening to that young Shane Eli Seeger from a video he did that was posted on Facebook with Gabe Stillman. And I heard some of my licks and some of my influence. Of course, he's playing chromatic too. And it lit a little fire in me and said, geez, Jay, you better get to work. They're sounding good out there. Right? So there's nothing wrong with that. But that motivation should just get me into the instrument. And then once I get into the instrument, it shouldn't be about competing anymore. It should be about music. So when I'm running these scale exercises, there is zero room in my brain during that for me to go, is that any good or not? Right? Well, I mean, am I playing it well or not? But there's zero room for me to judge it artistically. See what I'm saying? I'm just playing the harmonica for the sake of playing the harmonica. And there's no room in my brain to think about awards or gigs or am I any good or am I any bad, other than is my tone any good? Is my intonation good? Okay, these are the questions of, is my rhythm good? Is my phrasing good? Can I change the phrasing? I love it. Woo! Fun. What's fun about it? Jason's gone during that. There's no room. And later I can bring a little bit of Jason into it if I practice it good enough. Right? Did I tell you about the skateboarder, Rodney Mullen, right? Yeah, this was telling you about him. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's like God has reached out to me today, and I'm not preaching at you, I'm preaching at me. And it said, what is your reason? What is it? Like, for example, I told you I would prove that I'm full of it. All right? I will tell you, this may sound like an extreme example to you, but and it is, it's extreme. But if I was really just about this, only about getting the best I could be, all I would do is practice. There wouldn't be any gigs. There wouldn't be anything else, right? And maybe I would have some like remedial job if I needed money to pay enough rent, like, right? And all I would do is sit here and practice, and then and go into hibernation for the rest of my life, because I truly love this so much that I didn't want to bastardize it at all with any YouTube videos or any shows or any tours or anything. Is that extreme? It's extreme. I don't know, though. If I truly loved life, if I ask, why are we here? What are we doing here, right? The only answer that I can come up with is to get closer to God. I don't know what that is, right? I mean, I do. I think I do. But I know, to be kind, to be loving, to be compassionate, right? To be mindful, to allow somebody else's control to take over, right? To relinquish my need for gratification, for temporal satisfaction, whether it be in food or sex or music or ego or money or any, to put that aside and do nothing but maybe become a monk and meditate, right? Maybe that would be a true confirmation of my belief and faith that this is the most important thing in the world, that this life is incredible and I want to make the most greatest thing out of it. But is that in and of itself selfish? I mean, we do, as musicians, give back. And when you guys make a video, when you say, I'm gonna I'm going to learn this song and I'm going to record it for the purpose of playing it for Jason. It makes me really happy. So what do I know? I know nothing. I know nothing. I'm here to ask some questions. Why are we doing this? And I'm here to tell you that the answer is to practice. To get better. What's the reason to get better? Well, it might be to get on stage. It might be to get a free harmonica. It might be to impress that girl or that guy over there. It might be that. It might be for followers on Instagram or TikTok. So what? So what? But never lose sight of the fact that this is beautiful and this is fun and it's supposed to be for us. In the end, we have nothing if we just are doing it for the wrong reasons. If I'm making a free Friday and I'm just putting in some stupid licks and saying, okay, here you go, it's a 4 blow, a 3 draw, a 2 draw, right? That look, I guess it's helpful, right? You walk away with a new lick and that maybe that lick, I don't know, all right? But I'm here to ask the question. Why do I think there needs to be a video, no matter what? What happens if I don't make a free Friday? So instead of not making a free Friday, I thought I'd make a video where I told you that I'm full of it. I'm full of it. I am not always pure of motive. That I am not always here to talk about music. And I'm really talking about music now, right now, as a result of calling bullshit on my bullshit. And I'm conscious of the camera being on. I'm conscious of the camera being on and what I'm doing. What I need to do is turn the camera off and practice for 20 or 30 minutes. Maybe 5 minutes. That's what I'm going to do right now. I promise you, believe me or don't. Free Friday.